Hello, today we will create a glowing ball with an internal burning effect using materials. First, import the texture in our Discord and create a new material. Since we want to express it with a glass-like material, set the blend mode to translucent and the shading model to thin translucent. After setting this up, you'll notice an error and a requirement in the stats panel. Follow the requirement and set the lighting mode to surface forward shading, and then create a thin translucent material output node. Next, press 3 on your keyboard and click to create two constant 3-vector nodes. Convert these nodes to parameters so that they can be adjusted later in the material instance. Set the desired colors and connect the pins to the thin translucent color and base color. Then, press 1 on your keyboard and click to create two constant nodes. Set the values accordingly and connect them to the material's metallic and roughness inputs. After that, bring a surface normal texture from the content drawer and create a texture sample node. Create a text chord node to set the UV of the texture and connect it to the texture sample node. To separately set each channel of the texture, use the Breakout Float 3 Components node. To adjust the normal map's strength, create a Multiply node. Also, create a Parameter node by pressing S and clicking. Connect the RNG channels of the Breakout Float 3 Components node to the Multiply node. Then, create a Make Float 3 node to combine all the channels again and connect this to the normal input of the material, creating a pattern on the surface. Next, create a Fresnel node to add a border effect to the sphere. Adjust the Fresnel node's values, as shown in the video, and connect a 1- node to darken the edges while brightening the inside. Use power and parameter nodes to enhance the contrast. To add a random motion effect, find the motion 4-way chaos function in the engine content and bring it into the graph. Similarly, bring a noise texture and create a texture sample node. Since texture sample nodes don't work directly with functions, right-click to convert the texture to a texture object and connect it to the function. Duplicate the text chord node from earlier and create a new one. Use multiply and parameter nodes to control the UVs. Then, create an add node and create another text chord node to set the UVs. Press T with left mouse button clicking to create another texture sample node and set it to the water normal texture from engine content. To make the texture move, connect a panner node between the text chord node and the texture sample node. Adjust the speed of the panner node using the speed parameter. To control the intensity of the water normal texture, use multiply and parameter nodes. Combine the text chord node and the texture sample node using the add node and connect this to the motion 4-way chaos function to add some ripple effects to the noise texture. You can also use constant and parameter nodes to adjust the divisor and speed of the function. To add contrast to the noise texture, use power and parameter nodes. For the inner part of the mesh, use the 1- node from earlier and set it with a power node, adjusting the values as shown in the video to mask the noise texture. Then, use a multiply node to combine it with the motion 4-way chaos function, adding noise inside. Use a power node to slightly extend the range of the noise. Then combine the existing Fresnel node with the noise texture using an add node. Adjust the brightness of the Fresnel node using multiply and parameter nodes to control the overall brightness of the mesh. Connect these nodes between the power node and the add node. Then, to set the emissive color, create a constant 3-vector node, convert it to a parameter, and set the desired color. Use a multiply node to multiply this with the add node, determining the final color. To control the brightness of the emissive color, use multiply and parameter nodes and connect this to the emissive color input of the material. Next, let's add a thin border to the material. Create a Fresnel node and adjust the values to create a thin edge on the outside. Use a power node to add contrast. Then, use a max node to combine the inner Fresnel effect with the outer edge and connect this to the opacity input to set transparency. Create another max node, connecting it with the outer edge and the add node, and link it to the emissive color multiply node so that the edge also glows. Finally, let's create the refraction effect. Create another Fresnel node and press L to create a lerp node. Create 2 constant nodes and set their values accordingly. One of these will be used to set the glass's refractive index. Refer to the official Unreal Engine documentation for these values. Connect the nodes to the lerp node and then connect this to the refraction input of the material, adding light refraction to the mesh. Place a sphere mesh in the level from the Place Actor panel and change its mesh to Editor Sphere Mesh in the Details panel. Next, right-click on the material you created and generate a material instance. Apply this to the mesh and open it. In the parameter graph, check all the parameters and adjust their values to fine-tune the glowing ball effect.